People ask Reddit, what fact do you know that makes people go, why the fuck do you know that? Shrimp live in the canopies of the redwood forests. They get there via literal seagull poop, and the lush coastal ecosystem forms little puddles on the branches in which they grow and live. When bears hibernate, they generate a mucus wax to cover their buttholes so that nothing can get in. Edit, okay, as this blew up I decided to look for this information a little further, as it was just one of those fun facts I heard once on TV or something and never actually fact-checked it. There's a name for this, it's a fecal plug, and it seems to be actually made from hardened feces, but it only has a light odor that is not unpleasant. If you hold a sheep's nose closed so that it can't breathe, it forces the sheep to pee. Source, a friend of my dad's used to be a vet for farm animals. This was a great way of getting a sample if a sheep was sick. Reply, well, that's one I never learned from James Harriet. Stalin was shorter than Napoleon at 5 feet 5 inches, and his left arm was shorter with a deformed hand due to blood poisoning. Reply, Napoleon likely wasn't even short for the period, he was average height. It's a mix between English propaganda, the fact that the French measurement of the foot was longer in France, 33 centimeters, than it was in England, 30.4 centimeters, and that his personal guard were exceptionally tall. It was an annual tradition for the Pharaoh of Egypt to masturbate into the Nile with an audience. It was and sounds like a standard fertility ritual to me. Don't you want rich harvests? Oh look, he seeded the water. Our bounties will be great. Except that one year when nobody came. That's one hell of a flex. A coworker told me one day you'll know when it's truly the first day of spring because lake water will warm up and make any dead bodies in the lake float to the top surface due to bacteria, he continued with, except for in Lake Superior where the water temperature never gets warm enough to build bacteria in a dead body. And that's one coworker I'll never make mad right there. Reply, the dead bodies in Lake Superior will get cocooned by a wax-like substance made from their body fat, and will be closed off to fish or other carnivorous or omnivorous organisms. This will wet mummify the body. I saw a video of one of those corpses that lives in a shipwreck. People dive down to him all the time, and while it should have been the creepiest thing ever, it ended up feeling kind of wholesome. He's just chilling out down there. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down, of the big lake they call Gitche Gummy. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead. When the skies of November turn gloomy. Edit, this got some votes, so I just wanted to make sure to credit Gordon Lightfoot and his legendary song The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is based upon the sinking of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald in Lake Superior on November 10, 1975. The first Pong machine was dropped off at a local tavern owned by friends of one of the developers for a test run. After a few days, the game started to malfunction. The tavern owner called one of the devs, Alan Alcorn, to come fix it, and when Alcorn got there it was discovered that it was malfunctioning because it was too full of quarters. I'm surprised that wasn't in the documentary Game Over on Netflix. When Napoleon Bonaparte died in exile, they cut off his penis and gave it to the local parish priest. The priest later sold it to raise money for his parish, and it's been sold and resold down through the centuries, and to this day there are 3 people who claim to own Napoleon's Benny. No one knows why this happened, and it's not the important part of the story. The important part is, who the hell do those other 2 penises belong to? Reply, I mean, if people are buying dicks from famous people with no proof of authenticity, if anything, it's surprising only 3 showed up. Maybe they each have 1/3 of the real thing, and the reason it was sold in the first place was the impressive size. Dude walks into Vegas pawn shop to sell the penis. Rick, I really want to be sure that this is Napoleon's penis, let me call an expert in penises. Your mom shows up. The US is one of the few countries that allows strike anywhere matches to be sold. Do not bring them on a plane. For example, you're going on a camping trip and put them in your checked luggage. You'll be fined several $1,000s. There's no exemption from the fine. But the FAA will work out a payment plan with you. Dragonflies are the most effective hunter on the planet, catching 95% of the prey they go after. Reply, slightly unrelated, but house cats are hummingbirds' #1 predator. Their species is also older than the Appalachian Mountains. The first known vending machine was created in the 1st century AD, and it was located in Egypt. The machine dispensed holy water, and it also took coins like ours do today. The earliest known reference to a vending machine is in the work of Hero of Alexandria, an engineer and mathematician in 1st century Roman Egypt. His machine accepted a coin and then dispensed holy water. When the coin was deposited, it fell upon a pan attached to a lever. The lever opened a valve which let some water flow out. The pan continued to tilt with the weight of the coin until it fell off, at which point a counterweight snapped the lever up and turned off the valve. The annual migration of birds was only discovered in 1822 when a stork turned up in Germany with a 30-inch African spear through its neck. Before that, we seriously thought migratory birds slept at the bottom of ponds or flew to the moon for the winter. Google, file storage. Reply, that's also around the same time dinosaur fossils were discovered. Science. Another theory was that they had summer and winter forms, a bit like stoats, but more extreme. The quickest way to the heart actually is through the stomach. According to archaeological evidence, the Aztecs basically discovered through their years of sacrificing people that it's way quicker to cut open the stomach and then go up and under the rib cage to cut the heart out, rather than trying to break open the ribs to get through them. They could apparently get someone's heart out this way in only a few seconds, and there are accounts of sacrifices where multiple thousands of people had their hearts cut out in a single day, which would take forever if they didn't know the quickest method. Reply, so Ice 9 Kills lied to me when they told me that the fastest way to a girl's heart is through her ribcage? Damn, back to square one. I know the full name of Dom Pedro I, first emperor of Brazil, since I was a child. Pedro de Alcântara Francisco Antonio João Carlos Xavier de Paula Miguel Rafael Joaquim José Gonzaga Pascual Cipriano Serafim de Bragança e Bourbon. Why the duck do you know that? Brazilians are presented with this fact when we're a child and some teachers make us memorize it. Some of us just memorize because we want to. Cocaine was such an influence on Fleetwood Mac's rumors that they wanted to credit their dealer. There's a bunch of these cocaine stories from 70s bands. Black Sabbath spent $75,000 on cocaine during 1972 while recording Volume 4. The Grateful Dead visited Aerosmith while they were recording, and Jerry Garcia said he's never seen someone do so many drugs in his life. Probably talking about Steven Tyler or Joe Perry. Apparently in 1975 the Rolling Stones had access to pharmaceutical-grade cocaine from Merck, and it's claimed that they had it hidden around on stage so they could just do a line when needed. There's a ton of stories about Keith Richards and his shenanigans. Bowie was known to take ungodly amounts of cocaine. You can see in some pictures from that time how thin and gaunt he looks. He even had Mick Jagger worried. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.